Oh, hi. Well, I guess this news doesn't really come as a shock because as of a few days ago, NewJeans, well, officially, Hyein and Haerin has officially returned to Ador or Hybe, basically Ador, and I guess it's for the first time in the whole saga, in the whole New Jeans contract validity saga, they did the smart choice because they tried to leave their contract. They tried to unilaterally end their contract without any legal basis and without any valid reason. Now they went to court, and the judge had to do a 40-minute, I guess, explanation on why every detail or every point they made did not hold water or did had no merit in in leaving their contracts. Well, first we have to also qualify that it was Ador who did the suing. They sued the New Jeans for, well, they not really sued, but they brought the contract to court for contract validation, and of course, and New Jeans had to put in their arguments, which all failed in court. So they were given, I think, a week to, or yeah, a week or so, or a little more than that to appeal, which they did not. Now, as of a few days ago, that was the deadline for the appeal, which they didn't do, and shocked everyone by Ador releasing a statement that Haerin and Haein has they have already had communications with the two, and they're now going back to Ador. But what makes it different is that around a little less than 3 hours after that, the three older members, namely Minji, Danniele, and Hanni, released their own statement. Remember, you have to remember this, people. The three older ones, which we will be then call MDH, or Minji, Danniele, and Hanni, released their own statement through their own lawyers. They did not. It was not released by Ador. While for Hyein and Haerin, it was Ador that released the statement. So it was officially under Ador. Ador released that statement, and in their statement, they were discussing this together with the parents. Remember that Hyein's parents almost had had a custody dispute because Hyein's father didn't want them to sue Ador, and it was the mother. And the court decided on the mother, which is why they are part of the lawsuit. Also, remember that it was Hyein's uncle who introduced Hee-jin to that CEO for Davolink, the one that does routers, in a deal that didn't fall through, which was trying to finance the independence of NewJeans. So in that end, I would understand. I would understand why they would think that, since they already rumblings of dissent in that group. And apparently, it was also stated in some of the articles that it was the same person, Hyeon's father, that also convinced Haerin to join them going back to Ador. Because if anything, it is the smart thing to do because they are under contract. They have nothing new to use for the appeal. So if ever they do appeal with the same thing, it's still gonna lose. And that's it. They either have to go back to Ador or talk to Ador and work out a termination fee, which will definitely be high. So it's the smarter decision to go back. Also, and also, at least for the two of them, and maybe Ador thought that since these are the two Korean members who are, like, I would say, more Korean than the others, with Daniel being half Korean, Minji studying in international school, and Hanni literally not Korean, it would be an easier package for them to market. Now, for the three. First off, there's been news that they've talked to that the four, because one of them is in Antarctica. They were speculating it was Hanni, but I think it was Danniele, since there's a run in Antarctica. That they already talked to Ador, the four of them. It was said that after talking to them, the older ones left without any resolution after giving out their demands. And I'm not sure if the demands are correct. That one of it is to get Hee-jin back, which is stupid. But whatever happened to it, the 2 days before the Ador announcement, they talked and they left without any resolution. So it also points out to a little bit of a dissent in terms of the group, because since last year, they have always been united. They've been doing they did the live stream, the guerrilla live stream. They went to court together. They always talked about together. They went to Hong Kong for the utterly disastrous pit stop performance together. And this is different because first off, Ador did the press for the other two, for Hyein and, which we'll now be calling H&H. And then the three older lines, MDH, did it on their own without Ador announcing it. And in their message, they did say that they were trying to contact Ador and there was no response. Well, I guess Ador doesn't revolve around them, and of course they already did their statement. So it sounded a bit weird, since you are the ones who wanted to return, and then you're making it like it's a favor to Ador that the three of you are returning, and you even had to put in a slight dig or a slight jab, saying that, hey, we were trying to tell you, but you were not answering your phone. Well, it happened after office hours, so maybe they're already out, right? Why didn't you just wait? So it sounds very suspicious. And what made it suspicious even more is that Hee-jin, oh yes, Hee-jin, the gift that keeps on giving, gave out a statement that NewJeans should be 5. If that is not a message of a plant, and I don't know what is. Right? First off, she also stated that she can build again anywhere. Dude, if you had that, if you can do that, then why did you have to drag NewJeans for over a year? It's all damage control. And at the same time, if I was Hybe, it would have hit alarm bells already for me that one of the 5, or maybe all 5, or maybe 3 of the 5, or 4 of the 5, at least one of the 5 is a Hee-jin plant who's going to look into their practices and will I guess report to Hee-jin. Who are you to say that they should be 5, right? Now, if I was a Hybe employee, I guess not Ador, well, maybe Ador or the other labels. Every time I will have any association or anything that has to do with NewJeans, I will always have a camera with voice and a voice recorder, because that's going. It's like letting a fox into a chicken coop. It's like putting a snake in your house. You're not sure because the MDH statement as well as Hee-jin's statement is very suspicious, and personally, I'd be very wary. Now, I'll be putting articles, I'll be putting videos in the description. I'll specifically put Asian entertainment and culture and Hybe Boy, because for the other groups, for the others people, they're speaking in AI, so we're not really sure. Maybe I'll put in Jasmine there, or capital victims, or the capital one there as well. But the thing there is, It has sparked backlash. Fans have been saying that they should apologize to Eyelet and Le Sserafim. Personally, on a personal note, yes, they should. But professionally, I don't think so because first off, it's Ador, Belift, and Source Music. So they're different labels. Ador can decide it how they please. Maybe they can do it privately, but I doubt it. But then again, they don't need to. The point is that they're back, so they have to now make good on what they're saying that with they already had tours and comebacks in place. But you have to be very wary. Now, I also feel bad for Eyelet and Le Sserafim since they're the ones that they're the real victims here, and getting them back, I guess, with nothing. I'm not sure if Ador or Hybe will give them anything or penalties or something, but it's just like, okay, it's for a year we endured this hate for a year, and in Eyelet's part, it ruined their debut. It ruined chances for a bigger debut or at least a bigger reach. And they're back. They're back in the building. I don't know how I would feel if it were me, but I'm sure the two groups have handled themselves professionally, humbly, and I guess they'll have to do the same again. But then again, it's going to be very hard. It came to a point that the Seraphim fans put protest trucks outside the Hybe building, telling them to leave, telling them not to get them back. But of course not. It's a business, right? NewJeans generated a lot of money for Hybe and Ador, and of course they need to get that money back. It's been a year. They were doing nothing for a year. I mean, Ador has doing nothing for a year, so they need to get that back. So as much as I feel for them, practically they have to get them back. They have to keep earning. As for the other two, I mean, I feel bad. I'm a glit. And since I support any group that has shown kindness to Eyelet, of course I'm unofficially a fear not as well, and I feel bad for them. But then again, they have each other. They have the fan base, and Spaghetti's doing well. So that's the nature of the beast. That's how business is. They need to make money. It's a business after all, and I'm sure that no, I hope not. I'm sure. I hope that Belift and Source protect the girls. At this point, both Belift and Source Music has issued statements that they will prosecute any group or anything that promotes malicious or negative, malicious comments or malicious articles against the two groups. Thank you for that. But I do hope that you can always protect them. Also, another update. The Belift Lab defamation case against Hee-jin just ended. No, not just had another hearing wherein the Kakao Talk messages were again used. It's a great asset that the court ruled that the Kakao Talk messages are admissible because it just showed that Hee-jin specifically targeted Eyelet because they were new, they didn't have an established fan base, and and the Hee-jin's defense that it was outside influence that were telling them that they copied NewJeans is not. She perpetuated that narrative. But unfortunately, they'll still have another hearing in January. But I do hope that the court decides against Hee-jin and for Belift because the evidence is there. The only thing her only defense was it was my opinion. Well, if it was your opinion, then why were you asking your executives to spread this out and even trying to tank Hybe stocks, right? And then connecting it with your goal of trying to put NewJeans independent. Right? So come on, man. But then again, personally, I'll have to say that I got back into K-pop. Well, initially looking at watching NewJeans, but now with Haerin and Haein back, first thing I do hope is that I hope that Ador puts them into therapy, because I would say that they were really brainwashed. Next is to be very careful with the three MDH. Now, Asian Entertainment and Culture and Hybe Boy also stated that there may be a chance that Ador will not take them back. Personally, I hope they don't take them back because they were the adults, and especially Hanni, who did the most, in a sense, most damage by going to the National Assembly. Minji has always had that haughty tone to her, and while Danniele and Hanni went in to meet Tally Talkie. But then again, it's a business. I know nothing about the entertainment business. It's Ador's call, but you guys really have to be very careful about these two, about these three. But then again, well, welcome back, Hyein and Haerin. But I would still have to say that they were not purely innocent in this. I do hope that Ador gets to have something out of it. But then again, they're back. But I will also repeat what Fairlane of Asian Entertainment and Culture, hello, said, that she's all for second chances, but no free passes. Haerin and Hyein and MDH, if they're gonna come back, should face up to consequences and should also take responsibility for it. Maybe publicly or privately, but then again, they should. There should be consequences to it. But well, they're back. I guess we're still not done. There's still the Source Music defamation lawsuit, the Belift Lab, the next round of the Belift Lab defamation lawsuit, and the put option. So there's still a lot more Hee-jin, but this time, at least for the NewJeans side, it's over. The contract validity has been decided, and the next thing we'll have to wait, I guess, is what happens to them as a group, and I guess a comeback. But at this point, it shows that there might be some cracks in the united front that NewJeans is trying to put, which I guess a part of the group is starting to have common sense. So, good thing. But one thing's for sure, Ador should be very, very, very wary, and should do things and should do their next actions very, very, very carefully.